So initially our path to A was S, G, F and A. So S, let me just delete these for the moment. S, G, E and A. So this was our path to A. Now since we have this new path to A, now wait, I've done something. Give me a second. Yes, S, G, F and A. Sorry. So now that we have this new path to A, now that particular distance was 5. Now we know that E is connected to A. So we can then say if this is 5 plus 2, E can potentially have an updated value where E initially had SGFE, but now E can have SGFA and then E, that gets us an updated value of 7. So E gets an updated value of 7 using this particular path here. The next thing that is connected to B, we are done with A because A only had this line. Next thing that we have is B. B had a value, updated value of 10 with an updated path of SAEB. So we have SAEB, right? So this was the path to get to B. And we know that C is connected to B. So we initially had no estimate of E, no estimate of C, but now we have an estimate of B, that is 10. And we know that B to C is 1, so that gives us 11. So C is updated. We discover C to get a value of 11. D is not updated. We already updated E, and that was our iteration 4. Right? Now we move on to iteration 5. We have already discovered S, A, B, C, E, F, G. But now since we have discovered C, we are able to discover D as well. So this iteration, we are only also going to cover D as well. But remember that in the last iteration, we updated B, C, and E. So we only care about neighboring vertices of these 3 vertices, that is B, C, and E. So for B, we had an updated value of 6. We now have a vertex length of B to C. So we can update the value of C to the entire length of B, that is SGFAEB, that is SGF. Wait, SGFE. Right, for B. Okay. So for B, we have this particular path SGFEB. So we have SGFEB, and then we go to C, that gives us an updated path to 7. We already looked at E as well. E had an updated value of SGFAE. So SGFAE to B gets us a value of 7 minus 2. So that gives us a value of B equals to 5. Notice that every time we are iterating through these vertices, we are only going to look at the previous set of paths that we have found. So for this C, we have this particular path SGFEB. That is the path to basically B that we found in the previous iteration, that is SGFEB with a distance of 6. So we had the distance of C to SGFEB plus 1, that is SGFEBC with 7. Notice that we are not updating this C with the current iteration's path, that is SGFAEB that we found right now. We are always going to use the path from the previous iteration, not the current iteration, right? Okay. So we also update the value of D because we just found C. And since C had a distance of 11, that is SAEBC, that is SAEBC. And from C, we can get to D using this path. Then we know that that distance is 3, so that gives us a distance of 14. Now that we have updated these vertices, we have updated B, C, and D. Only the vertices that are connected to these 3 vertices are required to be evaluated. So from B, we have C, no other. So B, we have C, and we have A. So from B to A, we get a distance of, so the current distance of B is 5. B to A is 1, so that new distance could have been 6, smaller, we don't care. So A remains unchanged. Then we have B to C. current distance of C is 7, B is currently 5, plus 1, that gives us 6. So the current distance of C is updated to this particular path. And from C to D, we currently have a path to this particular value of C, that is SGFEBC. So we update it to SGFEBCD, that gives us 7 plus 3. So that is 7 plus 3, that gives us 10. And that gives us a new path to D. Now that we have updated these vertices, we have only updated C and D, and we only care about the vertices that are connected to C and D. So C is connected to D, that's fine, and D is connected to E, that's fine. So the only thing that we should update is D and E. So D basically should be a path that is C, that has the current value of 6 plus 3. So D's initial value was 10 here. D becomes 9, that is 6 plus 3. And D to E, the current value of D is 10. 10 minus 1 gets us 9. But we already have a value of E that is less than 9, that is 7. So we do not touch E. And since it is iteration number 7, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 vertices, we stop here. Because remember that for our algorithm, we only iterate for V minus 1 times. And once we iterate for V minus 1 times, that is 8 minus 1 times, we are guaranteed to find the all pair shortest path, single source shortest path from this particular vertex S. Questions about Bellman-Ford? Does that make sense as to how we progress in this algorithm?
So are you only updating the new paths that you find each time?
Yes. So we are basically, well, essentially this particular algorithm updates every vertex every time. But if you think about it, we only need to care about vertices that we have updated right now, and we only need to update their neighboring vertices. This algorithm is still the same complexity as this particular way we look at it here. But essentially, Bellman-Ford would update every one of these vertices and look for every one of these values and compare them. But we just looked at it like this, where we only update the vertices that we have looked at right now. The same complexity, this is just a bit more efficient way of doing it. Make sense?
Yeah, I think because you have to have that start, you have to start at S, and then you can't really update the later on nodes until you kind of find a path to
exactly
them.
Okay. Yes, and if you have, even if you have explored everything in your graph, the only things that you update, let's say, are these 3 vertices here, then you are guaranteed that the only things that will change in the next iteration are the vertices that depend on these vertices. Right? Because everything else is going to be the same anyway. So that is one way to optimize this particular algorithm, but essentially the traditional Bellman-Ford algorithm just updates everything. And again, you know that this is going to be the same thing. Updating everything would still be the same thing, and the time complexity would again be the same, because at the worst case scenario, you might need to update every vertex every time.
And what is the time complexity there? It's V delta E. What is that times?
I think that should be. That is plus E. No, not plus E. Times E. That is times C. Sorry about that. That is not delta E. That is times C. Because we are, worst case scenario, we are updating every vertex and every edge every time.
Right, because you have like a nested loop of V and E.
So essentially that is V times C. That is not V delta E. Okay. So, okay, so that was the Bellman-Ford algorithm that we used to find the shortest distance to all other vertices starting from a single source. Does that make sense? Any questions about the iterations? And more importantly, let's say that for your exam, if I give you a graph, would you be able to write down a dry run code as we looked at right now? Would you be able to write, not this thing, would you be able to write down such a dry run of the iterations as we, as you iterate one after the other? So remember one thing, that the maximum number of iterations that Bellman-Ford requires is V minus 1. In this case, we have 8 vertices, so that is 7, right? But you can imagine a simpler graph that does not require, so let's say that we have a simpler graph with 8 vertices, and that might not require 7 updates, 7 loops or 7 iterations to find out the shortest path. So in that scenario, another efficiency module that we can apply is, given any 2 iterations, if we have 2 iterations where none of the vertices are updated, then we just stop. That becomes helpful for vertices or graphs, let's say, that have millions of vertices. So that would mean that you would have to update your algorithm for millions minus 1 times. But if you see that upon repeated updates, you see no changes, then we don't need to run our algorithm again, because that follows from this particular example. Because since we updated certain vertices, only the vertices that depend on these vertices are required to be updated. So if that is the scenario, if none of them are updated, that means that none of them require any further changes. So we can also stop our algorithm right after that, without actually running the entire length of that algorithm for V minus 1 times. Does that make sense? Okay. So this entire set of algorithms, so this Bellman-Ford algorithm, this Dijkstra, and we talked about BFS algorithm. So BFS algorithm and DFS algorithm only works for graphs with unit edges, because these algorithms do not account for weightages in graphs or edges. Dijkstra works with positive weighted graphs, and it will always find the shortest distance to all vertices starting from a particular source. Yes, Parvez. So following 1 or 2 consecutive unchanged runs, we stop, because we know that no other vertices will be updated, because nothing has updated before. Okay, then we talked about Dijkstra, then we talked about Bellman-Ford, where Bellman-Ford is essentially an algorithm that allows us to work with negative edges as well. And Dijkstra does not allow us to work with negative edges. So Bellman-Ford allows us to work with negative edges as well. However, Bellman-Ford will still not be able to work if we have negative cycles. Remember that last time we talked about negative cycles where all our vertices have negative edges, and it was a directed graph, let's say, with cycles, right? In that scenario, I can find a path that is negative infinite distance that does not account for anything, right? So all of these algorithms work with negative edges, but they do not work with negative cycles, right? Okay. So in order to find the shortest path between two particular, between any 2 vertices, we have this Bellman-Ford algorithm. We can also apply Dijkstra to our algorithm, similar to as we did last time. But in order to avoid those situations where, let me just bring that up. So now we are talking about finding the shortest path in this vertex, in this graph where we have negative edges. But let's say that we are hellbound on using Dijkstra. In that particular scenario, another way that we can actually